DMGs that are on YouTube channel. My name is Mike, and like always, we got Gage and Dylan here with us. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and turn that notification bell on so you're notified anytime we upload a video. Now let's jump right into it.
Alright, getting into the video here. As you can tell by on your screen, it's Broncos country. Let's ride.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride.
But no, all jokes aside, this video it's gonna be over Denver Broncos. Are the Denver Broncos overrated? And we are here to tell you if they are or not, because you guys should totally listen to what we have to say.
No, so I guess to start that all off, I mean, they've had probably one of the biggest off seasons this year, right? Extremely hyped up. They've made some huge acquisitions, and because of that, I mean, they are one of the most like Mikey said, most hyped up teams right now. Mm-hmm. Whether that is overhyped or just the right amount, that's kind of what we're gonna get into. But I guess we should just start off with kind of going over their offseason really quick, what they were able to do. Obvious big one. You got your main man, Russell Wilson. Something that Broncos fans have been pissing about for years. We just need a quarterback. We just need a quarterback. And
excuse me, there it is.
Yeah, personal opinions on whether or not he's goofy or not, or a cornball.
Big cornball.
He's a good He's a good quarterback, right? He's won a Super Bowl. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in our league for a while. So it's a great trade. You get a good quarterback. It was a big one. They did lose Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and Shelby Harris.
Get some good picks.
Yeah, I think Shelby Harris as well.
Yes.
And then their first round pick.
God, excuse me again. Sorry.
Jeez, dude.
I don't know what just happened.
Literally wasn't sneezing for the first hour and a half we were on here preparing for stuff and whatnot. And the second we start a video,
I don't know what just happened to me.
Dying.
Yep.
He's dying.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Okay. They waived Deshaun Hamilton. Got to create space. Wide receiver group's pretty stacked already. Oh, nothing major. Basic stuff right now. Brett Rippon, backup quarterback.
Brought back
PJ Locke.
Yep. 1 year.
Special teams player.
Yep.
Secondary guy. Good for him. Doesn't matter. All guys are already on the team, right?
Yeah.
Nothing major right here. All just re-signs and tenders and whatnot. So they signed offensive lineman Ben Braden. I don't think he's going to start, Mikey. Was he starting on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't think he's starting for him. I mean, granted, we don't really know until the season starts, but whether or not it's a good piece to add in general. You can never go wrong with more depth on the line.
Yeah.
DJ Jones was a good one. This was a really good one. Like we were talking about with that trade, you lost Shelby Harris, which was a big, big part of your guys' defense. He's a really good defensive tackle, a good veteran in there, and they were able to get a solid replacement. So they got back what they were giving up. So I thought that was a good move on their part. And then here's the bigger offseason signing for him. Randy Gregory.
Yeah, Randy Gregory. Old Nebraska boy.
More of a jail boy than a Nebraska boy at this point, isn't he?
Yep. Pulling a little Josh Gordon on him. Couldn't hop off the marijuana, but he's clean now. He's good.
Yeah.
Finally played
he had
a
a really
full
good
season.
year this last year. They brought him to pair up with Bradley Chubb on the other side. I'm not sure if they weren't able to come to terms with Von Miller, or if they just didn't know if he was going to stay. I just think that you could have given the money that you gave Randy Gregory to Von Miller.
I'm pretty sure Von Miller came out and said that he wanted to stay there.
Yeah. That's the only drawback for me for this thing. That, and then will Randy Gregory play a full year?
Yeah.
You never know. You signed him on a 5-year deal, a lot of money.
This is last season was the first season he played in a while.
Yeah, three. Yeah, he hasn't even played a full season. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
And then you're pairing that up with Bradley Chubb, who's been injured in every single year he's played so far. And unfortunately, he's just not hitting that potential that he has, primarily, I would assume, because of injuries. But on paper, it looks good together.
Yeah.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if he can get to that same level he did last year when he had a guy like Micah Parsons on the other side that was taking a lot of the heat off of him, being able to get those open looks through the line and breeze past just one guy trying to cover him, let alone getting doubled or triple teamed.
But it was a good pickup, right? Like
Yeah,
you
it's
have to
still
pick
a
up
good
edge
pickup,
rushers.
yeah.
Right, you have to do it. So
Because last year he had an okay year, or solid year, I should say. He had a good year, so hopefully he builds off that.
But pass rush is a premium, and especially in their division, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. You got to be able to get those guys. So it's a good signing. We'll mention this one. Josie Jewell, he played fantastic last year.
Yes,
One of the
he
best
did.
players on defense. Even though he was on the team already, re-signing him was a huge get, right? We're kind of skipping over all the other like re-signings and stuff, but that one's a really big one to get right there for him. Eric Tomlinson, he won't start.
They have.
We'll see if he really even plays.
They have Boogaruma. I can't say his name. It's something like that, but not really.
No, it isn't. It's close though. Then Tom Compton, I think that he is going to start in some way,
Good.
shape, or form for him. He's more of a depth piece. You know, he offensive tackle and guard. He's kind of your swing guy that plays whenever people get hurt. But I think you will see some starting minutes from this guy because of injuries, and they just happen so often. I think you'll get this guy, which is a good piece to pick up. Keep going down. We'll go through it pretty quickly. Pretty much everyone knows.
Sean Williams signed.
Yeah, just keep going. Alex Singleton, that was a good pickup. He's a good player. As long as he doesn't have to like see major starting minutes, he's a good contributor and a good tackler on the ball. So that's a good pickup. DJ Reed's decent. Kwan Williams was a good pickup. You get another corner to starting talent. Excuse me. And that's about it, right? So nothing too major, but really the biggest one is obviously Russell Wilson, and that's kind of what builds this team up to get people to think that they're Super Bowl contenders. Everyone kind of thought that the team was really, really good besides the quarterback, and now you get one of the top quarterbacks, so people have aspirations for them winning the division and, you know, competing to go to a Super Bowl. As a channel overall, the three of us, you know, Dylan, Mike, Gage, we all kind of think that they're heavily overrated.
I do. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Guess we should just preference that, right? And we'll tell you why. We're not just gonna, you know, give our opinion. We have some reasons why, and, you know, facts and stats to back that up. But I just don't see it. I don't see how they
I don't either.
automatically improve, and like people are just expecting Russell Wilson to be, you know, prime Russell Wilson again. He was pretty bad last year. Like, yes, he was injured, but he came back and he was healthy for quite a bit at the end of the season, and yet he was still really, really poor. And if that team with the Seahawks weren't able to win it with Russell Wilson, I don't see how him going to the Broncos is like a huge step up automatically. Like, they're the better team, right? Like, I kind of foresee the same thing. Like, could they compete for a playoff spot? Absolutely. But I don't see you like taking that step up and winning a Super Bowl like you did when you got Peyton Manning. But we'll get into it. Like, let's go to the Seahawks, right?
Okay.
Let's go to the Seahawks stats from last year.
Yep.
And you can go ahead and do this. You had this stuff pulled up.
Yep. So, obviously, they went 7-10 last year. They scored 395 points, which was 16th overall out of 32. They allowed 366 points, which was tied 11th out of 32. Overall grades, they were the 21st team out of 32. Offense, they were tied 19th. Defense, 15th. Special teams, 32nd.
Which is a huge reason why they struggled a lot last year. Your special teams is a big part of your game, and when you're losing games for your team, that matters. Not that we're here about the Seahawks. That doesn't necessarily matter. This is more. Let's look at their defense, because that's kind of like the big, like, get that people like say is like the defense just got so much better, right? And I mean, you look at the grades from the people last year, and this is with now Bobby Wagner gone.
Mm-hmm.
This is all the updated stuff with the new team for this year. And I mean, it's not bad. Like, obviously it's not great, right?
Yeah.
It's not like an elite defense, but they had good corner play. Their safeties did very well. I mean, the jokes with Adams are fun and all, and I would say primarily true. He's not worth the money he got paid, but he's still a solid cornerback or safety, and he's a good cornerstone to your defense. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But he's a playmaker out there.
Yeah, for sure. He's still Jamal Adams.
Right. But this is supposed to be the grades for like this year's stuff, right? All right, this is the updated roster for this year.
Yeah, but this is still going off their grades from last year.
Right. Are we able to go back to the last year's roster?
No, sadly not.
Okay. But let's pull that up, and then we'll go to the Broncos now. Like let's kind of back this up a little bit, right?
Okay.
So obviously they have all those stats.
Mm-hmm.
The points scored and points allowed. That doesn't always tell, everything, right?
Yep.
And let's go look. The offense is much better, right? They played much better. So you could say like,
Yeah.
oh, now that we're getting Russell Wilson, we're going to perform more, right? Like we're going to get much better.
Yeah.
But like you can argue at the same time that the reason why the Seahawks offense was so bad last year was because of how bad Russell Wilson was playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like their offense was very poor a lot of the year because of that. Whether that's because you think Russell Wilson fell off, which I don't really think he has. I just don't think he's been there before, right?
Right.
But at the same time, they were like 26th, right, in defense
Correct.
last year.
Yep.
So the
26.
better defense, all of a sudden, and the Seahawks, if you just had a
Seahawks.
good defense, was much better than what the
Oh, what would you look at that?
15th to So like if you go off of PFF grades, which they are not the end all say all with NFL
but
stuff, right? Like they're very
That's what the NFL goes off of, though, mainly for most of their stats.
generalizing that
So,
stuff.
Yeah,
But it's got some merit, right?
it does.
Got some merit. They're in one of the tougher divisions.
Yeah.
Okay, the roster is not as good as everyone's trying to put it up to be, right? It's just a huge trade for a big team that there's a lot of fans for that are a really like team, right? Like their fan bases are really avid. They have a good fan base,
That they do.
right? You look at the defense, and it looks pretty good on paper right now for this upcoming year, right?
Yeah.
All right, it looks pretty good. You're kind of basing this, right? Like if Randy Gregory plays the way he did last year, and if Bradley Chubb can play the way that you guys drafted him to think he can play, even though he hasn't really played up to that yet, right? So like this is all on paper. This could work.
Good.
Good. I honestly, I really don't see it. I don't see it meshing the way that the media is trying to put it out to be.
I don't think either.
Now, like, obviously the defense, I would say the defense will probably perform better than what the Seahawks were able to give Russell Wilson last year, right?
I'd say
I don't
slightly
know-
better. Maybe.
I don't know better. I would say it's going to perform about the same as what the Seahawks did last year.
Yeah.
Like, let's go with that, right? It'll be about equal. Now, if not Randy Gregory, if Bradley Chubb plays the way he's, people think he should play, then this is going to be a whole different story, right? But this is all being based on the fact that somebody that hasn't done it is going to do it, which, like, you could say both ways. You could say he's not going to, and you say he could.
Yeah.
Um,
You're just
I
putting a lot of
like
what
the-
ifs out there.
Right, and that's all this is. That's what's fun about the
Yeah,
offseason.
yeah.
What if back and forth, right? So we can move down to the offense, though. All right, offensive line, much better, right? Like, no quarrels. We can't really argue about it. Everyone's known it.
Yeah.
The Seahawks had just not protected Russell Wilson in his entire time there, basically. Right? They got a much better offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the better
You can
lines
see
in
that 2 rookies
Right.
probably is going to be starting potentially here for the Seahawks.
exactly.
So, and if 2 rookies are going to be starting, then you know the guys that were there before just weren't cutting it.
Obviously, they have the better line. They do have a better running back core. Javonte Williams, he's a beast. Mini Nick Chubb. That's how he reminds me of Nick Chubb when he plays. I'm really high on Javonte Williams. I was disappointed when Melvin Gordon re-signed with the Broncos. Not overall for the team, because I think that helps the Broncos overall, since you can have a double head back there, 2-headed group. But like for the touches getting taken away from Williams, I was kind of sad about it, because he's a beast. It should be one of the better running back groups since Marshawn Lynch for Russell Wilson, which we all saw how he was able to perform with Marshawn and that having to worry about the run. So
Yeah.
I think that's a huge basis, right? I think that's a huge plus for Russell Wilson, which then you can determine if that makes up for the fact that I think his wide receiver core is much worse,
100%.
right? Like let's go look at Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
This is Tyler Lockett over here. You can't see it because our face is here, but let's
He's
scroll up, you
12th.
can
He
see
finished
right there.
12th. Yeah, right.
And then you got
And
DK
then-
over here.
Yeah, and not just that. Like those guys are, one, just electric, and then two, they have rapport already with Russell Wilson. They were already on the same page,
Yeah.
and they played very well. You got on the Broncos side, you just have a Madden team, right? Like Jerry Jeudy hasn't caught a pass consistently in his entire career. Cortland Sutton has shown he has more talent and potential than Jerry Jeudy, but he constantly gets hurt. Like the best wide receiver in their group right now is Tim Patrick, right? And he's supposed to be like your guys' third wide receiver. So I'm curious on how it's going to work. I just think there's a lot of holes that are being kind of just like taped over because Russell Wilson's a quarterback. When there's questions about Russell Wilson, his health, and then how well he is after the fact, because he hasn't won a lot recently.
Yeah.
And does go into this new team even really changed much? Especially in the AFC, which is really difficult, and then in their division, which they could very well finish last in.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Like that division's really good. So,
And they probably have the worst defense in their division.
I wouldn't say the worst. I would say probably the Raiders still.
Yeah.
I would say the Raiders, because like
Maybe,
the Broncos defense maybe isn't elite, but they're still solid and stout throughout. Like they're still a good defense, and they always play really well in their system. Right, like I'm not like bagging on the Broncos. Like I don't think they're a bad team by any means. I just think like they're going to be a Super Bowl contender.
No.
Garbage that the media's putting out is just false. Like it's just false hope.
It's going to be another one of those years.
Yeah. Honestly, like as a Browns fan, this reminds me of the offseason we got Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield was going to blow it up and we were going to just kill everybody, and then we went like 6-10 and it was like dreadful all year. Like that's kind of what this offseason for the Broncos reminds me of. That's just all I keep seeing. Granted, Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield are not even on the same realm, stratosphere,
Yeah.
right? Like let's not get that twisted. But that's what this all this hype is building up, and I just don't see how they meet it. It's really Super Bowl or bust for them, and I don't see them. I can see them not even making the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
But I mean that's basically our opinion on it. I think that they're overrated.
Yes. I mean, Russell Wilson, when he was on the Seahawks, he really hasn't done much since they had that amazing defense with the Legion of Boom. Like, no-fly zone. Nothing was going past. Like, that defense carried so hard. Like, yeah, you had to have Russell go out there and still make the plays too, but that defense was the main focal point of that era there. They weren't talking about Russell Wilson. They weren't talking about this. They weren't talking about that. Anything about the offense. They were talking about that Legion of Boom.
Yep.
They carried that. And Russell Wilson, yes, he made the plays to still get him there, but we all saw how it went. I mean, he got one. They got one. So, right? They have one. They won one.
For what?
They won a Super Bowl, right?
The Broncos or the Seahawks?
Seahawks when he was there.
Yeah.
Who they beat? Who did they beat again?
The Broncos. They destroyed them.
Oh
That
yeah.
was, like, the
Yeah.
snap
Yeah.
First snap, and it was like not even a Super Bowl. They
Yeah.
won by,
Yeah.
like 30
Okay.
points.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah. That one just went right over my head. Yeah. That's right.
And
But-
then they were gonna go on and like be like a
The Patriots.
like the new era, the new era for the team.
Yeah.
You know, they were gonna be the dynasty, and then they threw it on the 1 yard line instead of running the football.
Malcolm Butler, baby.
But if you guys have made it to the end
Yeah.
of this video, we do appreciate it. We should preface this: we don't think that the Broncos are a bad team. We think that they're
No.
being overhyped in the media's eyes, and like what people are talking about because of that. So, are they bad in the overhypeness? Yes. Are they a bad overall team? No. I think that they are a legitimate playoff contender, or chance at the playoffs, I
Yeah.
should say.
They're
Right.
a potential wild card team.
Right. That's kind of what I would say.
They're not winning their division. They're not going to be going on crazy runs. They're going to be slightly above 500, maybe.
Which isn't like a slight, because this AFC
dude,
is ridiculous.
dude,
Like,
AF
you're gonna need to be, yeah.
Yeah, the Bills last year were 11-6 or something, and they were the 3 seed. And like we were 10-7, a game behind them, and we were the 6 seed. Like that, like it's a small, like there's small room for error. Like one game like that can drop you that many spots. And with the firepower in the AFC, like the Broncos, basically they'd have to make no mistakes all year, in a sense, and that's just not going to happen. So
That's every team, and it's going to be an interesting watch. But
yeah,
I do think they improved from last year, correct? Right? But I think a lot of teams improved from last year, so I don't think it's going to
yeah.
change like the whole landscape of like the AFC.
Yeah.
Like they went up, and then so did everyone else. So
Yeah.
it's still the same level.
exactly.
But yeah, like we said, if you guys made it to the end of this video, we appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It does help with us. It's cool to see. And then make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100. We're really close. We are at 78. So if you guys can help us get there, we do appreciate it. And you guys have a good night.
Peace out.